Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Pandora, and SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government and beyond. As always, I enjoy being your host. I'm Rodney Dawson. I got the mantle to myself today, but I have a wonderful guest with me. All right. As we know, Greensboro's growing in the art scene, pretty robust, but it can get better, I would say. But Creative Greensboro has been working hard to make that happen and has an artist residency program entitled Grow. And we've invited one of the Grow artists here, the Greensboro Residency for Original Works, and we have Yvonna D. Johnson. And she's joining us. Thank you for being with us on Talk City Greensboro today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I'm going to enjoy talking to you. Now, your residency has already started. It began on July 8th and ends when? On August 18th. So you got about 10 more days, right?
Yeah.
10 more days.
We're around in that corner.
I'm going to ask you later on how it's been going. But you're what I love the title that we have for you. And I'll tell people that you're a mixed media artist. All right, we'll get you to elaborate on that a little bit more in a few here. But I normally like to bring my guest in and give the audience some background as to how you got in this position. How did you choose to serve in this way? You know, was it some person or something? What experience led you to this seat?
Everything. Oh. I love to know and do. I really like reading, learning, and expanding my knowledge is like really important to me, and making something that is an example of what I've learned is like why I'm here. I don't think that I was ever supposed to really be anywhere else. I grew up when they would be like, oh, you want to be a teacher? I'd be like, no, I want to be an artist. Like I grew up watching my grandfather paint and draw, and I was always like fascinated. My mom was a photographer for a while. She hasn't picked up a camera in the same way that she used to, but I was always surrounded by people who were expressing their creativity one way or another. Like right. My mom, her eye for interior design has always been like really incredible to me. She sees something that she likes and she makes it happen. Like my mom, the tools in our garage were not my dad's; those are my mom's tools. Wow. So like seeing people want something different in front of them and not waiting for it to come, but making it happen is like the crux of artistry to me. Gotcha. And that's part of why I like to do what I like to do. And I do so many different things. Sometimes I feel like too many different things. Like that's why I call myself mixed media conceptual, because if I try not to let a medium stop me too much. I think that it's important to just give it a shot, even if it's a little ugly. I think a lot of my art is ugly in a way that I'm not ashamed of.
So you're very connected. You know, I don't know if I want to ask this now. I'll hold it for later, but I'm going to ask you at the end what fulfills you.
Okay.
All right. So you can have time to think about that. But let's look jump into this term, mixed media artist. Okay. I got some idea. You know, I have a master's degree in instructional technology. So we dealt with a lot with new media. So I got an idea of what you're talking about. But for our listeners or viewers out there, expand on that terminology. What is a mixed media artist?
A mixed media artist is someone who makes one thing using many things. So I think that a lot of people are used to people either painting or drawing. So people draw, they'll use pencil, ink, whatever. They might not be including more than one thing. If they put paint in that drawing also, then now it's considered mixed media. It's the same with like collage. Like some people don't consider collage to be mixed media, which I think is, you know, that's their opinion. But when it comes to the kind of collages that I make my own paper using like scraps and junk mail and things that would otherwise get thrown out. I try to close the loop if I can when it comes to the kind of work I'm creating.
Okay. What does that mean?
Closing the loop means making it so that the buck doesn't stop with me. So if you let me take this piece of paper home, I would cherish it for a little while, but there would be a point in which it would be considered junk. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And what normally happens at that point is someone would throw it away or recycle it. What I try to do within reason, because I don't want my apartment to be overrun, is I try to turn it into something else. So either it would get collaged or it would get beaten to a pulp and then turned into a brand new sheet of paper that I could Sometimes I use them to like make cards for my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then I use them also in my work.
Wow.
So that's like closing the loop.
Did you teach yourself to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, I did teach myself how to make paper. I've been wanting to learn for a really long time, and I couldn't find a class that was in my budget. And for my birthday, my 30th birthday, I bought myself a papermaking kit, and I was like, figure it out. And after, I would say the first week, disgusting. Everything I made, awful, ugly, terrible. And then the second week, I was like, oh, I get it. And I actually, this year, I've taught papermaking classes because of how far I've like been able to come.
Okay.
So yeah, I taught myself. I teach myself a lot. I did go to art school, but I'm an art school dropout, which I used to feel really weird about. But now I'm like, it is a really big privilege to have been able to go in the first place and to be able to absorb what I was able to. But giving myself the freedom to do something like not for a grade and also like not surrounded by people who some teachers got it. Some teachers, they saw my vision and they were really supportive, and other teachers were like, what are you doing?
Right.
And being able to be outside of that bubble, I think my work has really expanded.
So I guess like when you go into a theoretical realm or a teaching realm, you're confined to what they call art.
Yes, and also not only like what they, as in like this like ominous like industry, you know, but also like they, as in your teacher has a bias,
Right.
and every teacher's gonna have a bias. There's no way to really like go around that.
True.
And also when the teachers don't necessarily look like you, it's going to be different always. I think that they do the best with what they have, and I don't fault them, but there are teachers who are more supportive than others.
Right. Okay. And speaking of support, I'm starting to hear why it's so important for you to provide support for other artists. You know, it's from your upbringing, from experiences that you had, particularly what you just talked about. But you incorporate something very different as it relates to our creative support, your documenting days.
Documentation days,
Yeah, documentation days. Where did that come from?
7 years ago, it's right when I had decided to drop out of art school, and I was living in an apartment. I'd been there for a few years, and a hurricane came, Hurricane Florence, ripped through North Carolina in a way that it wasn't that devastating to everyone else, but my apartment just went up in mold. And being paper-based media, I lost everything.
Wow.
I didn't have any pictures. I had very few scans because I had convinced myself that like ugly things were not worth remembering. So anytime I was not 100% satisfied with a piece of work, I wouldn't photograph it. I wouldn't scan it. I wouldn't make any attempt to document it. And I regret it so much. And I want to emphasize, especially like after Hurricane Helene, especially after Chantal, like the importance that climate change is here.
Yeah.
And it's just going to continue to change. Like we're going to be faced with these unprecedented times again and again. We're not in an era of being able to kind of opt out of those things. And that's not the only way that art gets destroyed. There are a lot of things that can put distance between you and your practice. And losing your portfolio, it stunts your career. Like, I love what I've learned and how I got here, but I also am not, it's not lost on me that the trajectory could have been different if I had more work to show for it, you know? And I want to give people the opportunity to capture their work. I don't want to say before something happens because I don't want to wish that on anybody. It's literally awful, but you never know. I didn't know, and I found out in a very, very upsetting way.
For this go around, your residency, have the participants bought into that? Do you see them making it a priority to start documenting their work?
To be honest, no. I think that everyone, like, we always think we have time. You know, so I don't blame them. I think that a lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to bring something good and worth it. And I'm like, well, this is a completely free opportunity for you to come in and do this, capture these things, and have support in capturing these things in a way where you could bring whatever. Because not only is it important to get it captured, but it's important that you learn how easy it is to do it.
What would somebody bring, for example?
They could bring their sketchbook. That's one thing that I really regret. One of the last things my grandfather gifted to me before he passed was a sketchbook, and I just remember the spine of it being covered in mold. I couldn't keep it at all. Everything in it is gone, and also the physical book is gone. So scanning sketchbook pages, it also helped you understand how far you've come in your practice when you get to do stuff like that. You can bring drawings, paintings, sculptures. Also, one of the really beautiful things about that studio is the space. So being able to put something on the wall and have enough room to back up so that you get to capture the entire thing.
It's important. Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah.
And not a lot of apartments, a lot of homes, or like wherever you are, you don't really always get that opportunity to do that, you know? Things like that are what I really encourage people to bring, but that's not what I think people should be limited to bringing.
Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. You know, like we talked about, you started on July 8th. You're about to wrap up on August 18th. Any fun experience that you can share so far that's happened in the past 3 weeks?
In the past 3 weeks, I think it's been really fun meeting people and hearing about the things that they're excited to make. I have been just like singing the praises of this experience. Anytime someone is like, oh, well, I'm like, apply. You need to apply. Like what's the worst that can happen is they tell you no and you apply again next year. Maybe they tell you yes, you know, trying to help people understand how if it's important to you, it's worth investing in. And I think that's like my favorite thing is like the networking of it all, like getting to meet so many different people and like people who are like, oh, I didn't realize. They'll tell me something or they'll show me something on their phone and I'm like, that's incredible. They're like, I just did this for fun. And I think, you know, you don't have to like monetize a hobby. You don't have to take it as far as you can. You can just sit with it and be happy. But also I can tell a lot of times when people are talking to me that they wish they see what I'm doing as something that they can't do. And I don't think that should be that way at all.
Right. Anything that coming up in the next week or so, workshops that you, I'm putting you on the spot if you have any dates or the folks that haven't attended that they can participate in.
I do have one more networking night on the last Friday of my residency. I believe that is going to be the 15th. It's more like a networking afternoon. People can come just hang out and talk to other folks about what they're working on.
Okay.
I have a couple of open studios this upcoming Saturday, the 9th, and also the following Saturday, I believe. I have to double check my calendar, but I have a couple coming up, and then I have 2 more documentation days.
So if you're listening to this podcast, you can take part.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got till the 18th.
You have until the 18th.
Right.
You have, I think the 17th.
7th, okay.
Yeah, whatever the last Sunday is, you have until that day. And then after that, I move out and someone else will move in. Okay.
Well, I think it's been a joy that you've been there. It's just something different and a new perspective. And like we can see that you really care about the craft and care about other artists as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything that I didn't ask you that you like for folks to know? Or one thing I do like, how can we follow you? How can we keep up with you?
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram. My art Instagram is a work in progress, but everything is. So I believe that's Yvonna DJ Studio. And then you can also head to my website. There's a lot more work there that may never make it onto Instagram. My event calendar is on there. You can subscribe to my email list where I'll send things from time to time, especially if you're interested in taking like a paper making class that I'll be teaching. I have one coming up later this year that will be announced pretty soon. And you can also follow me on my personal Instagram, which is Sugar Scorpion.
Sugar Scorpion. Okay. I won't ask about the name.
It's just, I'm a Scorpio. That's really all it is.
I got you. Yvonna D. Johnson, thank you for joining us on Talk City today. And I wish you the best in your career. And I think what you're doing is magnificent and it's uplifting Greensboro.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really
Absolutely.
fantastic to call this place home.
Oh, well, good news. Good news. The Gate City. All right. Thank you for joining us. And also to our listeners and listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. You can stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Pandora, and don't forget you can download Talk City from SoundCloud. That's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Talk City. Be sure to watch GTN, your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro. GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and Lumos 31. GTN also streams live on Roku and the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov.